It's not that long ago since young people were in the news every Friday for school climate strikes. At its peak, 1.4 million students took to the streets worldwide, from Stockholm to Sydney and Sheffield to Santos. Youth voices have largely slipped off the agenda since the pandemic, but are slowly gathering momentum again ahead of the COP28 marches taking place this weekend, as Ollie Potts reports.
Climate justice!
The sound of climate protesters outside the gates of COP26 in Glasgow 2 years ago. From being there that week, I noticed a huge proportion of older people campaigning, including 81-year-old Extinction Rebellion member Eileen Wilson.
I just want to apologise to you as young people. You know, our generation's made such a mess of it. We should have been doing this decades ago.
A 3,000-strong group of Norwegian grandfathers also were protesting outside the gates, wanting to help their grandchildren.
But in the perspective of grandparents, we care for our grandchildren. And that's a special perspective. It's not our lifetime. We will not suffer, but they will suffer.
However, ahead of the climate justice protest in Sheffield this weekend, I wanted to instead focus on the youth and student organisations heading out to campaign on Saturday. Youth climate voices have slipped off the agenda during the pandemic, but have since regained momentum. Joe Campling, the Sustainability Officer at the University of Sheffield Student Union, highlighted the importance of youth representation during climate justice marches.
Student voice is essential. I think if you enter any of these activist spaces, it's very dominated by older people, retired people, which is fine. But I think it's so important that we kind of take our future and what will literally be our future into our own hands, and try and make some change around that.
Dylan Lewis-Cresser from the LGBT Greens.
In 2019, the big youth strike for climate, I think it's really kind of galvanised young people into wanting to make that change. And as we get further and further, I think more change is going to come from young people.
The United Arab Emirates, the host of COP28, has taken huge amounts of criticism with claims it's using the talks to strengthen its oil and gas ties with other countries. It's also taking place in a country where it is illegal to protest in public places, something Aidan Akhtar, an international student in Sheffield, is all too aware of.
Because of where I grew up, we never had protests or any sort of activism because of regulations and rules, and they literally just banned protesting. So I never really protested before. So it's sort of motivating, and you just want to join in, be there. There's also the effect of solidarity. So you're there, you see a lot of other students who are also there, and it just gives you a bit of hope.
The Climate Justice March, in solidarity with those who suffer disproportionate impacts of climate change, will begin at Devonshire Green tomorrow at 12 p.m.